We have several people joining us already. I'm certain we're going to have a few more today as well. So we'll just ease ourselves into this workshop today. Thank you for joining us. I love that we are starting our week with more workshops from teacher trainers. So this is a great way to start our summer week. Thank you for joining us. And I do hope also that you are all on summer break at this point. I know last week we still had a lot of teachers who were not on summer break yet. So I hope that is not the case. Hope you are all starting to enjoy summer break. Might have a few who are still teaching some summer school yet. Whatever you're doing, I just want to say again, thank you for choosing to join us. You are all the reason that we do this. We love working with teachers and are just so excited when we get to do these workshops and connect with all of you. So thank you for being here. And I'm just looking at these names real quickly. I am seeing so many familiar names. Welcome back, everybody. Very excited to see all of you. Oh, our summer break has ended already, 2 weeks back. Oh, I'm so sad for you. That's not such a bad thing, I guess. We do it for the kids, don't we? All right, everybody, we're getting a few more people joining us. So you'll see a slide in a few slides that tell you can go ahead and introduce yourself. But by all means, feel free to introduce yourself in Slack or in not in Slack, in chat. I'm looking at too many apps. It's terrible. You can tell us where you're joining from, what you're teaching, things like that. All right. Slowly starting to settle down on our numbers, but I'm pretty excited to see these numbers keep climbing. This is one of my favorite topics, cybersecurity, and I love the fundamentals of cybersecurity course, so super glad you could join us today. And while we're letting those numbers settle, I'll just mention, because I do know I don't recognize all of these names, so I'll introduce myself. My name is Lori Goldade, and I'm a PD specialist here at CodeHS. And I've been here for over 2 years now and have absolutely loved getting to meet so very many teachers and working with you and helping you along your journey. It's been a lot of fun. And I will say for myself, I did not start as a computer science teacher. I actually, in what feels like a former life, was an English teacher. And so I'm just here to say that anybody can do it. If I can do it, you all can do it too. Cybersecurity is definitely one of my favorite topics. And for those of you who've joined us in other workshops, you'll say, Lori, all of these are your favorite topics. They kind of sort of are. But I think cybersecurity has so many places to really engage with kids. So super excited to be here today with all of you. We also have several other CodeHS team members with us. We have Don from PD. We have Joni from PD. We have Linda from PD. I think we have almost the whole PD team here. We have Gary from support. Who else am I missing? Probably other people. Might be it from team members right now, but we've got a full team on the back end to support us. So thank you all for being here with me. And we also have our fabulous teacher trainer, Carmen Lagalante, is with us today. And she is one of our phenomenal CS educators, CodeHS educators, and a CodeHS teacher trainer. And you'll get to hear from Carmen very soon. I'm so happy she could do this workshop with us today. I think you're going to hear a lot of really phenomenal, inspirational stories about how to use the cybersecurity curriculum. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Again, welcome everybody. We're just getting started to fundamentals of cybersecurity. Carmen, you want to go ahead and go to the next slide for me, please? All right, so we have our first in a series of links today, everybody. If you could, please take a moment to, or if you'd like to, go ahead and open up the slides that we'll be using in our workshop today. You can access the slides at codehs.com/cyber-slides, or you can scan that handy dandy little code there. I'll give you just a moment if you wanted to take a picture of that. And we've been double checking slides and links and all of that good stuff. I'm just going to do one more quick double check, but I think we should be good to go. If anybody has any trouble, just drop a note into chat and we'll get those fixed right away for you. Looks like we should be good right now, though. There will be a few links that you may want to follow, but we'll also be tossing those into chat today as well. So no worries if you don't grab that slide deck right now. All right, go ahead, Linda, let's go ahead, or Carmen, let's go ahead and go to the next slide. Thank you. It's looking at chat and not paying any attention to who I was saying anymore. All right, and on this slide, we've got the question parking lot link. So if you could please go ahead and add any questions that you might have during the workshop today to the question parking lot, that would help us out a ton. We would so appreciate that. We want to make sure, especially with a group this size, that we're not going to be missing anybody's questions. If you have a question, we want to make sure we get it answered, whether it's at the workshop or possibly after the workshop. So just to help keep chat uncluttered so we can do other fun things like intros, if you could go ahead and add any questions to the parking lot, that would be great. You all should have edit access to that, and you can access it either from that QR code or from the link that Linda just tossed into chat. And we will have people watching that today as well. All right, Carmen, let's go to that next slide. All right, we've been seeing a lot of the intros come in. Let me just take a peek at what we've got going on in chat. If you have not introduced yourself, please go ahead and do so and tell us where you're coming to us from. We love to see where you're joining from. A lot of times we'll put together a map and see where all of our CodeHS educators are, and that's kind of fun just to see that. If you want to tell us how much experience you have with CodeHS, have you used the cybersecurity curriculum, anything like that would be great. Welcome, welcome from San Ramon, California and Texas. Excellent. Jonathan is joining us from LA. Michigan. I am joining you all from South Dakota, by the way, so not quite close to Michigan, but ooh, we've got a couple of teachers from Michigan. Welcome, everybody. Arkansas. We've got Tennessee. PD team was just in Tennessee not long ago. It was a beautiful trip. Welcome. Welcome to those of you joining us from India. Thank you so much for choosing to spend your time with us. We've got Virginia, North Carolina. Love it. Love it, everybody. Hello to Idaho. All right. Kentucky. Love this. People from everywhere. Oh, it is late in India. Oh my goodness. I have no doubt. We had somebody joining us from, I think, Cambodia at one of our last workshops too. And it was quite late and they stayed with us the whole time. So, and I think that was the case. I know a couple of you joined us from India last time too. So thank you for doing that. We appreciate that. Welcome, everybody. Thank you again for sharing where you're from. We love seeing that. All right. And for those of you who are here and you have never taught cybersecurity, maybe this is a brand new course, maybe you haven't even taught computer science before, no worries. This is going to be a workshop that you can definitely get something out of if you've never taught with CodeHS, if you've never taught with cybersecurity, if you've never taught programming, this will be a good workshop for you. And if you have used the CodeHS cybersecurity course before and have used CodeHS before, I still think you're going to get a lot of good information out of this because it's all about networking. And really, we're all learning together. And Carmen is going to be sharing so many amazing things from her own class. I know I'm going to feel inspired as well. So I'm really excited for you all to take part in this and be able to network with each other. Cool. You're going to love cybersecurity. All right, let's go ahead and go to that next slide. Go ahead and keep tossing those introductions into chat. So we are going to just take a quick look at what our agenda is for the next couple of hours. We are going through our welcome right now. We've got just a little bit more to do, but we're going through that right now. We'll get you enrolled in our workshop section shortly. and make sure you are able to participate in all of our fun activities today. And then Carmen is going to be taking us through a quick overview of what the Fundamentals of Cybersecurity course looks like. That is CodeHS's first level cybersecurity course. There's so much good stuff in it. You will absolutely love it. Then we'll be taking a look at some sample lessons, some lesson explorations, and we'll take a quick break before you get to choose a breakout session to attend. We're going to have one breakout session that Carmen will be leading on teacher tools and resources, where she'll be talking about some of the teacher tools that are available in CodeHS. And then the other session will be a curriculum chat, where if you've got some questions about the curriculum, we can help answer those. And we can also talk a little bit about some of the other lessons that are out there as well. We are actually doing all of this in 2 hours. If you can't hang with us for the whole 2 hours, that's completely okay. We will be sharing out the recording of this after the workshop. So you will definitely get to see all of that, regardless of whether you can stay with us or not. So yeah, it's a lot, and it's a lot for even 2 hours. So we try to make the most of your time. We appreciate you all joining us. All right, let's do the next slide, Carmen. Okay, and here we go with our signups. For anybody who does not have a CodeHS educator account yet, please go out to codehs.com/signup. Linda just tossed that link into chat. And if you could go ahead and create your free educator account, that would be great. Accounts cost nothing to create, student or teachers as well. So take a moment to sign up for your account. One thing I will mention is, if this is your first time creating an account, your account will need to go through a verification process. We just like to make sure that only teachers have teacher accounts. So we'll get you going on that. And if you have any trouble, don't hesitate to toss a note out there into the question parking lot, and somebody can go ahead and help you with that. If you already have an account, go ahead and sign in. Carmen, let's go ahead and go to that next slide. So if you have an account, go ahead and sign into CodeHS, and then browse out to this link that you see on the screen. And Linda also just tossed it into chat. This will enroll you in our workshop section for today. codehs.com/go/F834D. Not sure why I had pause on that. I'm going to see if I can open that up real quick. We're going to be keeping an eye on that on the back end and making sure you get into the section. And I highly suggest, if you are in a place where you can go ahead and join that section, please do. That's going to let you be able to really take part in all of the workshop activities today. Right. So we'll keep an eye on that. Again, if you don't have an account, you can go ahead and create one by clicking on codehs.com/signup. If you do have an account, or once you've created your account, you can go ahead and sign into CodeHS and click on this link to enroll in the section. And I know some of you are just joining us. We'll go ahead and repost some links for you shortly. All right, and it looks like people are getting enrolled in the section. Yay. If you're having any trouble with that, go ahead and toss a message into the question parking lot, and somebody from our team will help you out with that. And I think there's one more link, Carmen. Let's go to that next one. We're super link heavy. Okay, one more link. Now that you have an account and you're all signed up, we would love for you to go ahead and click on the attendance link. Please click on codehs.com/cyber-attend. This link is going to be really important. Not only does it tell us that you are here, but it also allows us to generate a certificate of attendance for you. And those certificates will get sent out a little bit later this afternoon. You should be able to expect those by this evening. So make sure you go ahead and click on codehs.com/cyber-attend. And that will let me send you a certificate. Certificates will come from hello@codehs.com. And so if you're watching for that, you might want to just keep an eye out for that email rather than my email this time. All right. Excellent. All right. All right, Carmen, I think I'm going to be ready for you next. So again, I'm just going to give you all just another quick introduction. So you all did not come here to listen to me talk. Today, you have come here to listen to Carmen Lagalante, one of our fabulous CodeHS educators, fabulous CS educators, and one of our teacher trainers here at CodeHS. And she's going to talk about fundamentals of cybersecurity today. So take it away, Carmen.
Thank you, Lori. Thank you. Yes, so as Lori said, I have been using the platform now since, pretty sure it was 2017. So it's been a while and I absolutely love it. Now, fundamentals of cybersecurity, I added it to my freshman computing ideas course, just the way I did it for a while. So you'll see it when I share the course as computing ideas, but I put all the modules in there. Anyway, and I taught this cybersecurity only about 2 years. So it's kind of a newer course. So. But last year I taught it as its own course where I put it with this and advanced. And that's kind of the beauty of CodeHS. You can arrange modules and kind of make your own thing. And, that's a whole different workshop. It's really fun to be able to do that. But if you have never used CodeHS, the cybersecurity is just like all the other ones. It's entirely web-based. So, because I teach it in a blended mode where I'll have students doing cybersecurity and other ones doing AP, and another one is doing intro to programming. I love it. It's entirely web-based. It allows me to do that because I don't have to get up there and teach. I can just help each student as they need the help. And so I tell them, make sure you bring earbuds. That's the one thing, you have to have earbuds. And I always buy those, like a bag of those, like 200 earbuds, like those cheap ones to have in case they didn't bring it that day. But each one you have the module, which is the video, the tutorials, examples, the quizzes. Then it has whatever simulation. In cybersecurity, there's a lot of outside material, reading that it brings in. That it's great because it's from the field. I mean, it's great. And then the free response prompt in this case. There's not any real programming ones in cybersecurity other than one module, really. Which I didn't do that module when I was doing this because I didn't want to get into programming with my freshmen. But other than Carol, we did Carol. But anyways, again, it is designed for, for a long class, meets 5 days per week, but I do it my own way. Just because I have kids that move, because it's so independent, the kids move through it a lot faster. So, and here is the description. What is cybersecurity? It's just it's a quick intro one, it's a very easy module. The kids get through it quick. But it's important, it's kind of introducing the field. The digital citizenship and hygiene and cyber hygiene. Now that's amazing one because it's so relevant to today. And what I do is whenever I can try to have a speaker. So for this one, it was so easy. I literally just went to the HR department and I convinced him, persuaded him to come and talk to my class about how he does background checks and, for the hiring process. And it was excellent because, he told a story like how he was about to offer the job to this math teacher for the following year, but he got the report back from the background check and there was like a subscription to some, inappropriate website, this bad hack, or I don't even remember if it was a subscription or he visited often. And that was mind-blowing to them because they think, as long as I don't post anything, right, that's all that matters, right? I'm not going to post stupid pictures. But they don't realize that it's every website you visit, every newsletter you subscribe to, all of that is part, is being tracked. So anyways, it was great. He'd field questions from them. A couple of them went and painted with their own background check in the website of the school. It was really funny. But it was great. And it was easy because, almost every school has an HR department. And at schools, we have to do background checks, right, on anybody.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm in the middle of it. right now, but I'm muted. So rain check.
You have plans this weekend?
Anyway, so it's a great, and the project that goes with this, it's a little later, but the PSA, it's such a great project to have them do. And I make them use Canvas, right? Yeah, or Adobe Spark, you know, so that they can do better graphics than just like on a Google drawing. And it's great what they come up with. Anyways, program fundamentals. I did do it this year with the course that was by itself. And that's pretty good too. The ABCs of cryptography, there's another one that they love because it's code. It's about coding and breaking codes. And it's a lot of fun. And it's fun for them to understand how this is really the basis behind all this programming and all this cybersecurity. You know, at the end of the day, it's code, you know, like this kind of code, you know, it's crypto. So it's really fun. Plus it really helps with understanding later on. I do the cryptocurrency, you know, so the whole idea of the key and the lock is quite important. System administration, okay, now this one's fun, but the kids have a hard time, okay? Especially, at least because in my classroom, I have kids, it's bring your own device. So I have them on Mac and I have them on Windows. And, you know, the codes are different and I'll show you later, but actually, if I do this, will it take you there? I wanted to show you, are you seeing the assignments, like when I move to this page? Okay, good. So here in system administration, the command line interface, this resource right here, okay, if you look at it, I mean, I'm a nerd, so I love it, but okay, it tells you, but they are for Mac, you know, when they're for Windows, and you would think it's so simple, and you would think that any student would like, oh, this is really important. They did a whole page for it. Well, I can't tell you how many of them just wave right over it. They don't even open this. Okay, and of course, there's like 2 test questions that are right out of here. So I always tell them, I bring it to their attention, but I don't know Mac for any, because I've never worked on the Mac. So I can't really help them a whole lot other than going back to this, but it's all here. So, but that's a really good page to make sure they look at it. And it's great, but software security is also awesome, except it gets into SQL and they have a hard time with SQL, you know, at least some of them at the beginning, because you have to do it exactly, you know what I mean? It's coding and they're not used to it. But so I spent quite a bit in there. All of them kind of get stuck on there. So I spend a lot of one-on-one on SQL. But it's databases, you know, they rule the world, you know, so it's so important. And especially when they get into the injections and the hacking, you know, that requires understanding SQL. So at least the basics of that. Networking fundamentals is so important, you know, the reliability of the network, right? And how to lay out a network and all that stuff is, they get struggle a little bit, just like, where do I put this? Where do I put that? Although that's more infrastructure, you know? And where do I put the modem? And where would they have to design a room in one of the assignments? And, you know, I see them putting like, you know, the modem under the table, you know, somewhere. And, you know, and I'm like, how is that going to go anywhere? You know? So that's a fun assignment where they have to design the room. Okay, oops. Oh, what did I just do? Hold on. I just went too fast. But no, here I wanted to, yeah. So I want to make sure. And here on the IT infrastructure, what I actually, again, it's great to have a speaker. This was easy. I literally went down to the IT office. I went to the director of IT and I said, hey, can you talk about the ticketing software that you have for, you know, when the, you know, people have issues and I, you know, bring them to IT. And she did, she showed them how it works, you know, how they have to write down everything that was done. And it's one of the projects is troubleshoot, right? And it's a lot of fun. I'm going to show you a sample. Again, having that speaker and like that, this is real life, that this is, you know, you want to get a job tomorrow, you know, you in IT, this is critical. And she talked about how she fired some tier 1 people because they wouldn't write down what they were doing. You know, they kept all the knowledge that they found that they were research, and then they wouldn't write it down. It's like, there's no secrets here, the knowledge. If you find the answer to something, you write it down. So the next time we don't have to go look for it. So she's great. She's great. But that was infrastructure. Okay, here's what I wanted to show you. So the public service announcement, that's the PSA that I was talking to you about, that goes right after. Okay, so if you look at it, it goes right after the digital citizenship and cyber hygiene. And I like that it's PSA, like you have to make this so that everybody could understand it, right? Now, the classic cipher newscast, okay, this is who I tell you is so flexible. So I like the idea of the project, but I didn't want to do it with the ciphers. It didn't fit in my curriculum at that time. So I took that idea and I actually made that as my final project for the course because I didn't want to give an exam. And I did it with cryptocurrency. And now the security assessment report, that one is a Word document and there's a template. And what I do with those is I always have them use turnitin.com because it's a lot of writing that is part of that. And so that's another one that I tend to put over in here in my, I don't actually, it's just a Word document, so I'm not going to show it to you. But it's really important to, and even the movie, like I have them write up the script, turn that in as a written document, and that gets put through turnitin.com. So it's really good to keep the integrity, you know. And the troubleshooting one, that's the one where I had the IT come, and basically they have to solve 2 IT tickets. And there's a theory that is proposed, you know, that is shown to them in the curriculum. So I have them explain the theory and then use it. And for the most part, they did great, but I had to share this one because it was hysterical, his answer. If anybody who works in IT, if you've ever had, you will love this answer, okay? Here's his solution. Okay, the problem is the sales department has trouble finding a signal for their wireless access, but it works great for the marketing department, but they're in the same room, but the sales is in a different one. So his suggestion is, well, that the sales department moves to another room. I just thought that was so funny because, you know, like this is, you can tell as a student, you know, you don't move a sales department, you know, you have to fix the problem, which most of the other ones did, okay? You know, they had to put a new signal, a new WAP, you know, all this stuff. But I just love that. And it's so written so elegantly, you know what I mean? Like, this is the ideal solution. They may move to a different room. Anyways, you have to love it. Oops. I hate when I do that. That one. Now, these are the supplemental ones, okay, that I was talking about, but cryptocurrency is so important. And actually, I added web development as well. I didn't do the second sequel because I could hardly do the first one. So I didn't see that one. Like, the cryptocurrency is so relevant. And I did supplement some of the really difficult concepts with even more videos that I found. And you're always welcome to do that. You know, you can add to a lesson. So it's and we got into NFTs a little bit, you know, because at the time it was all over the news. It's always all over the news. Now this, I'm not sure what this is. Lori.
So the really cool thing about our fundamentals of cybersecurity is that it's actually fully aligned to the CompTIA ITF Plus exam. And so this is definitely something you can use to help your students prepare to take that industry certification. There's also other portions of this, there's certain portions of this course that are aligned to other CompTIA exams as well, like A+ or Security Plus, and some of those other ones as well. So definitely something really nice with this course, especially well, for any teacher, but I know I'm coming from a CTE perspective, and it's really great that these certifications are aligned with the course too. So
I didn't even know that. That's cool.
super cool thing.
Because
I know
I
from
kept
this.
telling them that they could go get a job. That's what I kept telling them. I'm like, when you finish this, you're ready to go tier 1 work, you know? You already know more than all the teachers at the school. You know?
Absolutely.
So this is excellent. This is excellent. Oh, this was really fun too. I actually have them do a phishing test that I found online somewhere. and it's so many of them fell for it, you know, because they're so sophisticated, and it's great for them to actually see it in action. Yeah, good job. Don't download anything from. No, I don't know if I can actually run it. Can I? Oh yeah. But it tells them. This is actually, it's funny because we're implementing this as a whole school. We just hired a company to do phishing, like and if the teacher clicks on the wrong thing, it will tell them like, this is what happened, whatever. So this is awesome. Because again, it happens, our network, and we're a small school, I can't imagine, but we've been hacked several times because of teachers clicking on links and stuff. And it also shows that everywhere you click. You know, another thing I do is there's a great, it gets into the whole social media and Netflix. I show them a piece of that. I think it's called the Social Network. No. Yeah, is that what it was called? You guys, anyone, it's on Netflix. Anyways, it's a great documentary in social media, and it shows like how you're tracked, the eye tracking, all this stuff. So I just show the clip that focuses on that, and it's so, you know, it's so powerful for them to see that. And that's the beauty of this course. Is so easy to bring in things and speakers, and I mean, because it's so current. Okay, I'm gonna get into this sample lesson. And again, here you can see the layout. Okay, this is all the lessons we're talking about. It starts with the video, the quiz. Okay, then in this case, there's a supplement thing for you to read, and questions, free responses about it. So I did notice in this course, I mean, they are reading real documents, you know, in many cases. And so they do need help sometimes. You know, they'll come like, okay, here's the question, and I don't see it anywhere in the reading. Just because, you know, not every student is as advanced in their reading skills as the others. But yeah, I think you can actually try this out. Laura, is it okay if we now go to the CodeHS, or do you want to just stay here? Okay.
Absolutely. I was just dropping a message into chat that all of you, if you're in the workshop section, will have access to this activity.
It's right here. It's on the digital citizenship, and it's privacy and security. So maybe we'll give them some time to go through it. Is that the plan? Or do you want to just, okay.
No, I think that sounds great.
Okay.
Yeah, if you'd like to take some time to, I think this would be a great time to go through this. And Carmen, if you've got any strategies for how you approach this, we would love to hear about that as well.
Yes. The How Strong Is Your Password, that's a really fun site, okay, where they go and they try different passwords. And there's a graphics, and I don't know how, I didn't have it with me, but it shows like given the strength of your password, how long it takes to be, you know, by brute force, how long it would take them to break it. It might actually be in here. But again, these kids, you know, half their passwords are like 1, 2, 3, you know, like ABC 1, 2, 3. And it is so important. In fact, one of them did a video on this whole password security and how important that is. Because there was the, you know, the gas that was the pipeline, you know, in the East Coast that was closed because of a hack. I don't know if you remember that. It happened, I think it was last fall, but it was, the whole thing started because of a weak password, you know, it was hacked. That's how they got in. And so I had the students do a video on that, and it was really interesting. The connection was so real to something as mundane as a password.
I think it's interesting that you mentioned the password one, Carmen. I always found it interesting that so often students and I think people in general often think, I'm only accessing this one thing with this password. Does it really make a difference? And it truly does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does. I actually, and one of the times the school got hacked was, you know, it might have been one of my students. Maybe I'm going to go deny all responsibility on this one, but yeah, it was one of my AP computer science students that, you know, got a teacher's password, and because they had it written on the desk on a sticky note, and they were just trying to see what they could do. They didn't actually change anything, but you know, the teachers don't understand. You're not just getting internet with your password, you know, you're having access to the entire network. And they got into some stuff. Yeah. They did a little bit of damage. And the IT department had a very good conversation, and the deans had a very stern conversation with it. Because the other thing is, obviously you can be tracked when you do this, but it was all came, you know, passwords. And I can't tell you how many, because I teach in different rooms, because a part of my job at the school, I don't just teach, I teach 2 hours a day with computer science. The rest of the day, I'm the educational technology specialist. So I'm in a lot of teacher rooms all the time, and I still see them. They still write them down, you know, even though now we make them change it every 3 months. But this is great exercise right here. The Google privacy policy, yeah, they're not as keen into that one. But I tell them how many times we just say, yeah, accept. You know, nobody has time to read these things, but there's a lot that is you're giving away. I actually like the information literacy one, really. That's another critical one. So you can see this course is so helpful. That's why I kind of put it part of the freshmen, because this is skills that they need to know right away. You know, information, you know, as they start their high school career, I would hope that, you know, they all learn these things. I mean, I wish all the departments would teach some of these units, you know, just because I wish all the students at the school would get it. I don't know if everyone's had time to go through it yet.
Yeah, definitely take some time to explore. And this is a good time to do that. But explore the video, explore that, there's also a slides option in the video. Yeah. And start taking a look at some of these, because then towards the end of this, we have a little Padlet where you can check in and really think about all these different components that you see in the CodeHS lesson. And think about different ways that you can use these components too. So not only do we want you to experiment and see what is in the CodeHS lesson, we want you to think about how could you use those components in your class. Maybe you wouldn't watch the video, maybe you'd use the slides. Would you do something different with the simulations? Are you grouping kids? So think about that, not just from what does it look like for students, but what does this look like for your classroom?
Yeah, and I mean, another thing with the cybersecurity course is that it just leads for great conversation, discussions. You know, there's so many things where I will break even though we're blended, you know, or I'll throw a flip grid in, you know, and just have them discuss their learning, because they do need to talk about it. There's the information they're getting, some of it, it's like, are you kidding me? Like, I didn't know this.
Carmen. I completely agree with you about how important it is to have the kids discuss things. And I always thought it was so easy to take these topics and just run with them in a whole different directions.
Yes.
The kids get very excited about, especially when they learn about all these other hacks that are happening and breaches of security. And then they start to understand more about why it's happening and how it's happening. It's pretty empowering for them.
So the password list, you can see they used all the material from here, so they found a real live application or misapplication in this case. I don't know how much more time you guys will need in here. So I guess I can see what you're doing. We'll get into the teacher tools, but it's one of my favorites.
This is a good tool.
Yeah.
I thought I'd also mention too that we'll toss a link into chat to a Padlet that lets us all explore and talk about ways that we can use the different components in the lesson. So we can go ahead and share that link, and you can all access that. This is going to be a great place if you've got your own strategies for how you would approach this lesson. Definitely add those into the Padlet. And also, if you are a current cyber teacher, I know we've been in chat a little bit talking about some different resources that we use. If there's anything you'd like to share, please go ahead and toss that into the Padlet as well. And Linda just tossed that into the chat. She also tossed the link into chat for the lesson plan for this too. So.
And as you can see, like my teaching side, I love to have them do videos or, graphics. That's just because that's just my approach. I like them to create with information, those levels of understanding chart, that
it's a good approach. I like that.
So to me, I get more grade in that than a test. So I still have to give some kind of like the final project, but. And just a quick word that the unit tests for cybersecurity, some of them can be tough, so I've come to the point where I make them open notes. Okay. That's because there's a lot of details that they don't know, I from my point of view, like that command line thing, I wouldn't remember all those. I would have to go look it up each time I wanted to use it. So, but those is totally up to you. But it has to be notes, that they've either written or they have to print them out, because all the tests I give them in the LMS with lockdown browser. So I literally copy and pasted each question out of CodeHS into my LMS at one point.
Seen a few people join in that Padlet, so definitely feel free to do that. And I think one of the cool things, and I think Carmen will agree too, that one of the really awesome things about CodeHS is that you can really customize what you're doing in the platform. You don't have to just walk through it and do each section and be done. You can go into detail in so many more ways, and we love to brainstorm those ideas and think about how we can use those components.
Now, this is a great question. Okay. During the shutdown, oh my goodness, I had to really answer this question for a lot of the faculty because, there's so many free tools out there, that they were very tempted by. And I had to be the mean guy saying, no, not that one, not that one. You have to, the privacy of the student information, they're collecting, they have to, anyways, it was really fun. but it's a great, people don't think about this. Why do they come, why is it free? Nothing is free, right? We know if it's free, then they're selling you, right? How does it go? You're the product. Okay. And yeah. And the students, they love to get into so many sites, you know. So I always tell them, did you look at the privacy policy? You know, what are they doing with your data? A really fun question that we got into this. And honestly, I didn't even know the answer. One of the students came up with it. It was biometrics, you know, and they're like, well, what about when you put in your fingerprint? You know, who's storing my fingerprint, you know? And thankfully I was able to find it. And at least in Windows, it's stored in your own device, in your own hard drive. It's not being stored, at least for Windows devices. I have no idea what it is. But it was a great question that this leads to this, you know. Why are they collecting and what are they doing with it? And that movie from Netflix, the documentary, which I'm gonna remember the title. I think it was actually The Social Dilemma.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think it's Social Dilemma.
But they get into this a lot, you know, what the companies are doing with the data, how they target the ads and all that stuff, kind of stuff. Now, I know in some schools you can't show anything from Netflix because it's blocked. I don't know how else you get it. In our network, only Netflix works. Any of the other ones don't work. So, well, I was actually looking into getting a video thing for the school. But hopefully you're throwing, where is the chat? I lost the chat. I'm hoping you're having a discussion on this one. It is very interesting to see why the students' point of view.
Yeah, definitely. Toss your chat ideas or your ideas on this one into chat. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this too and get us all thinking about it more.
But at the end of the day, you know, we know the answer as adults is they're making money, you know, they're selling it to somebody. But in one of the videos in this unit too, they show the, what was it? Yeah, they talk about the black market, you know, in the internet, you know, the dark web and how, you know, your credit card number is being sold or your email address is sold, you know, that's, and one of the reflection questions is, you know, ask them about that. Every single time the students is like, I can't believe it's only, you know, they're selling it for so cheap, you know what I mean? But they're making so much money, you know, and it's like, well, it's because there's so much, you know. It was with the Yahoo, you know, story that was a long time ago. That's when I switched. But that's what I mean. The curriculum is so open to discussions and great talking with the students. Which of course, if you have a really large class, it might be difficult, but in that case, I would just flip grid. What information is the most important to keep secure? You know, it's funny because they go through all this and they still put their last names in the videos, you know, and I'm just like, really, did you learn nothing?
This is really interesting, I think, to ask students this, because you get a wide variety of answers sometimes.
Yes, you do. Yeah, Social Security. I tell you one thing, they hardly ever think of Social Security number. You know, that's about the last thing they think of, you know? Yeah. One of the activities also does have them Google their name, and it's really funny with some of them, you know, they're like, oh, for so much money, somebody could get my address. I'm like, yep. How did that happen? And I had a student who had the exact same name as his father. And so everything that came up when Google, his name was stuff about his dad. Some of it wasn't. I was like, let's not talk about this. Yeah, no before. Hey, that's the one that we just purchased a contract with. And they're the one that have the phishing test. You know, quiz is a free one. And it's a really fun one to take. I mean, I took it and I still didn't get 2 right. So now I was happy that the head of IT took it and she got them all correct. So I'm like, okay, we're in good hands. I'm glad you're in charge of this and not me. And, you know, a lot of them did come up with like my credit card number, you know, my address. Have I been? Heck. I'm just giving you a little time here for the chat. But these are just great questions to really go open-ended on them, you know.
I think that's a good comment, Sandra.
Yeah.
I think often kids don't think about location data and what that says about things.
Yeah, there's a great story that I share with them where they did it. It was an experiment, you know, but location, right? So it's supposed to be anonymous, right? Your phone location data is supposed to be anonymous, but this group, they were able to follow a certain anonymous address, right? But it would go from this workplace, you know, to this cafe, to this, you know, gym, whatever. And they were able to narrow down who the person was. And they were shocked. They're like, what? So even they're supposed to be anonymous when they do the whole track, you know, of all this, who goes to all these locations, you know, they start with the workplace and, you know, they come backwards. Because I share that with my principal as well. And 2 days later, I get an email from him saying, okay, my location data says I was in prison, but I was doing a Bible study, okay? I'm like, I can't track you. I'm like, I was just telling you what I do with the kids. Oh, that was kind of funny. Okay, I'm gonna move on. All right. So the comparing operating systems is great. Can even people's cell phones breaking down? Oh, that's really cool. Sorry.
You know, and I think it's interesting too to talk about the Internet of Things when you're talking about 3D printers and bring that in, because so many hacks happen and security breaches happen because of bad password policies on things like climate control systems and logic board controllers.
Yeah. Yes. The Internet of Things is a great discussion. I always tell them how my refrigerator, that I bought, the new refrigerator, it wanted internet access, and it wanted all of a sudden I'm like, why does my fridge want my internet? You know, like, I guess it can allow me to, when the door is open or something. And I'm like, no, I'm not giving because there's one more password, one more entrance into the network. And I told him I already have so many things, every Wemo still have a smart house, and I tell them that's when you really want to, if you're going to do that, you really have to invest on really good security, and antivirus, not just antivirus, blocks, filters, all that kind of stuff on your network. It's really interesting. One of the things I show them is I actually log into my my router, and all the options that it gives me, how it shows me what's connected and and they're like, you should be able to do this. You should know how many devices are on your home network and what they are and how they're accessing and what. Okay. Now, do you want me to show the video, Lori? What is data?
We don't necessarily have to. People can go ahead and watch that later. That's totally fine. But it is cool to note that you can see either the video or the slides here. Yeah. So if you prefer not to do that video in class, or you would like some direct teaching, you can absolutely do that, or direct instruction.
Yeah. Yeah, I go, when they get stuck on something and they ask for my help, I always go back and I just go to the slides and I say, here, this is where the answer was. Which you can access, we can talk about this, but you can actually access the slides from any of the assignments. This is what I mean. So let's say you're actually in the free response. And this is good to show them, that they can do this. On the More tab, there's the slides. And they can actually have them right there as they're answering the questions. So I show them that. Oh, we're actually going through the slides. Here you go. Integrity, confidence. So this is if you were actually wanted to teach the lesson using the slides. This is what Lori, I think, was talking about. You can just have it right here and then just talk about it, from your own notes. In my blended class, I can't do that. What ensures a strong password? This is great. And students, everyone tends to think, oh, it's about having a lot of symbols or whatever, but really it's the number one thing is the length. The longer it is, the safer it is. Yeah. It is good to have all those other things, but.
It's a really interesting thing to try with kids in those password checkers or password breakers. Because it's so often they think it has much more to do with complexity. And what we're seeing more and more is it's about length. So
I tell them to do a sentence. I was in the story. I set up my sister's Google account when she first came to the country. I'm originally from Spain. You may have noticed a slight accent. That's where it's from. But I came as a kid, but my older sister came later, and I set up her Google account. And I was trying to show her, like, this is how you do it, so you have, but she was paying no attention. So when it came to the password, I literally I changed it, okay, so I can tell you. But in Spanish, I said, Carmen is the best sister. Literally, that was her password. And because she wasn't paying any attention to me, she had to keep entering that whole sentence for years until she finally figured out how to change the password. But it was a great password because, it was so long and nobody's going to guess that one. It was a whole sentence. And I used uppercase on Carmen and sister. I am the younger sister, so I can do this kind of stuff too. Here we go. 8 to 20 characters. So capital and lowercase, special characters. And special characters, most people just use the first one here. The has is the most, just so you know. But this is so important. Different passwords for different accounts. I was guilty of this for EdTech. I used to use the same password for every EdTech website because I had literally so many of them. And so this is when it's a good to introduce password managers. Okay. I always tell the kids about whether it's 1Pass or I tell them not to use the ones in the browser, like Google has one, right? Whatever Chrome has, because those are not, I think, I say as a password manager, like Norton or 1Pass or Apple or whatever. But they're life-changing because now I have a different password. The only password I need to remember is the one to the password manager. Yeah. 2FA, this is critical. We actually just brought this to the students. We made 2FA with all the student accounts last year. That was a new thing. And just in case, if student doesn't have a cell phone, there's actually an app, the name of it, that they can have on Windows, at least, that will act as a 2FA device. Especially some of the younger kids don't have phones. Yeah, LastPass. I used LastPass forever until it wasn't free anymore. And then I switched to Norton because it came with my Norton subscription. But I do love it. Yeah, to keep the master. The one nice thing that I loved about LastPass is that you could actually use a physical fob to unlock your LastPass. So even if you didn't know the password or whatever, you could do that. Norton just has it unlocked with your phone, which is okay as long as you don't also lose your phone. But there are different ways to keep, so you don't even have to use the master password. Oh, that's easy. This is great for putting in, this is the kind of stuff you use that generator. Yeah. Yeah, my mom literally has all her passwords in a note and keep, despite the fact that I tell her that that's crazy. Just very good stuff. That's awesome.
And if you're thinking about ideas that you might be able to pull into a classroom, lesson as you're teaching this, definitely add those to that Padlet as well. This is definitely something where we can share ideas between teachers. We would love to hear from all of you about different ways you might use this curriculum or what you bring into it in the classroom as well.
And even writing passwords on, there's those little books, physical books that you could do, which is great. Those, unless, you're traveling or something and that gets stolen, and it's like, so password managers are still my favorite tool. Yeah.
And one really nice thing about the slides as well is if you're using the slides in class, and typically on our slides, there's a lot of presenter notes as well. So you can actually view those when you're going through the slides.
Yes, I actually have those right here. If you guys didn't know, I'm just letting you guys kind of do some of it, but it's important, to always verify that it's secure. Right? There are still a lot of sites that don't have it. Now, most browsers is able to give you a pop-up telling you, this site you're about to enter is not secure. But not always. Not, if you don't have your browser up to date, it won't do that. And there are times that it will give you that when it's a perfectly good site, but they script something in the back end. Yeah. And another good discussion here, because a lot of my students have installed pop-up blockers, right, on Chrome, which is great, except that in and of itself can be malware sometimes. So it's better to avoid those sites, period. This is great. Okay, security extends, again, yes, having the latest version of the browser, but so many people don't know the site settings, and they have to, like in my case, they often have to allow for webcam when I have them do a flip grade. Sometimes they have trouble, like, oh, I wasn't able to. I'm like, but you need to allow it to have access to your webcam. And the Microsoft, all that stuff. And even in our LMS, for some of the Spanish teachers, they like to have them do recordings, right, where they just the homework gets an answer in audio. And it's the same thing. They're like, oh, I tried to do it and it wouldn't work. And I'm like, well, you need to give it access to these things.
I just noticed, Carla, are you referring to the slides from the site? In the platform, you can actually access any of the slides from the videos. When you go to that video page that has the video, either you or your students can actually click between video and slides. So you can access it there.
Yes, right here.
Yeah, cool. Perfect. It's a really nice option.
Yeah. I tried not to show them this to the students in the beginning because I want them to listen to the video. So I only show them in the other way, taxes the other way. But they pick up pretty quick.
But it is a really great tool for teachers when you're looking for a way to differentiate how you're delivering your instruction. So.
And if you have any international students or like, in my school, international or just second language speakers, if you have them watch it on YouTube, they can turn on, the closed captioning in their language. So that can be really helpful. I do that a lot with some of our international students that are very, their English level is not as high yet. So I had one for Germany. I have a bunch of Chinese. I'm like, here, just do this.
So I know we do have one more lesson that we really want you to have some time to go through yet. Let's zip ahead just a little bit, Carmen, to the operating systems
Oh,
one,
yes, that's very good.
because it's cool. I will say I too was in IT for 20 years at my school district. I was the tech coordinator and the high school computer science teacher. And so I feel pretty close to the system admin stuff here, IT infrastructure, all that. Yeah, there's so many good videos in
Yeah,
here.
I'm like, there's
so.
a lot of stuff.
Mhm.
Here, yeah, but this one's great. I agree. This is
Perfect.
the Windows and Mac thing. It's so good.
And I think one of the reasons I liked it too is because I was the Chromebook school and we had Windows, we had Chromebooks, we didn't have any Macs, but it was very hard to show the kids how these operating systems worked. And there's some pretty cool things here that we'd love for you all to explore.
Mhm.
And actually, in your workshop section, if you take a look there at the assignments, you'll see there is the system administration unit. And you can actually click on that to start exploring that unit. Let's see. I think you have it up on the assignment tab there. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Here you go.
Perfect. Yeah. So there we go. Perfect.
I put this in because I wanted to. Yep.
I love this lesson.
I do too. Because I have both in the classroom, you know. And I'm like,
yeah.
Oh.
But it's such a great comparison, and it really lets kids see what these operating systems look like. I know from my perspective as an IT administrator, I used to make VLANs for kids and virtual machines to be able to see these things. Well, it was a lot more labor intensive.
Oh, wow. Like, that's impressive.
Yeah. I didn't have time. so this was awesome. But I think, what do you think, Carmen? Should we give them a little bit of time to go through that? I think.
Yes. Yes, it's definitely worth it.
Perfect. I think go ahead. Let's take a few minutes to head out to that system administration module and take a look at that second lesson there, comparing operating systems, right where Carmen's showing you right now. And take some time to go through that. Pay special attention, especially to those examples, because I think the simulations are so cool.
I actually had one of those really smart kids in one of my computing classes where he finished everything, and I had an old laptop. That was it was a Windows laptop, and I had him transform it into a Linux machine so that we could just play with it. It's super old thing, but you know, it was fun to actually get to see Linux.
This would be one of these units where I would definitely, and this is something I did in the classroom, I definitely collected hardware. And for me, you know, I was the IT department too, so I just grabbed old laptops and brought them in, old desktops, if somebody brought things in. But these are, it's such a great way to give kids hands-on experience with this. The simulations are great, but if you can give them a piece of hardware, I know one of the activities I used to do too was to hand the kids a working device. Might have been a slightly older device.
Yeah,
but yeah. I was a little bit brave. Sometimes I gave them something that worked, just hoping, please don't break something in half. But but they would have to take it apart, identify some of the hardware, and then actually put it back together. And in order to pass that activity, it had to work. So it was
that's
a challenge.
really brave, Lori. I didn't go that far. I just show them the parts.
Well, and I will, you know, preface that by saying, if you are the IT director, you can get away with that. So don't do that if you haven't talked to your IT department. Don't take the Chromebooks apart.
But you know what I did notice is that a lot of the a lot of the PC gamers tend to take these courses, and a lot of them have built their own computers, so they love to if you give them, time, they'll love to share about how they pick the parts and all this stuff, They know more than I do about this,
Yeah.
some of those things, like what do they call the FP, whatever, the transition, speed of transition between graphics. It's like, what? Like, I play Farmville. Did it all problem.
Yeah, this is a fun place to really let kids find their strength. Can be a really empowering thing for kids. So often you might have students who don't feel like they're programmers and they're not really connecting with that. They might not find something in just computer science that's interesting to them, but there's so many topics in cybersecurity that can possibly engage kids. And this happens to be one of them, that back-end system administration side. So it's pretty cool to be able to see them really connect with this, and especially those gamers, or maybe we've got some esports kids in there who can really take this to another level. And if you're thinking, I've got a lot of old computers, I need some screwdrivers, watch your local or your chain hardware stores. A lot of times they'll have free weekly specials. And I know one of the specials at one of my stores, we happen to have Menards in this part of the world. I don't know how prevalent that is in the rest of the nation, but they do free stuff all the time. And it's pretty cheap stuff. But they had free little screwdriver sets, for the micro tools. And I cleaned house. I thought those are mine. I had my mom going there to pick some up, my friends, other teachers.
That's funny.
Lori needs screwdriver sets for her classroom. I'm certain there's a box of them. If I ever get in your area and you need screwdriver sets, let me know. I will bring them. I don't need them all anymore.
That's fun.
And as you're going through this, I'll go ahead and I happen to be on it, so I'll go ahead and toss this link into chat. So as you're going through that lesson on in the system admin unit, if you're thinking about other things that you could potentially do here, definitely add those onto that cyber Padlet and share that with your fellow teachers in the group. I will say, if you're thinking about, I know there's been a couple messages about people who don't have pro. I can tell you that I was not a pro teacher the entire time that I taught with CodeHS in my classroom. And I used CodeHS from 2014 to 2019. And I was never one of the teachers who was able to purchase pro, but that did not stop me from teaching with CodeHS courses. I just didn't have access to some of those progress monitoring tools, those access controls, a lot of the things that might make your grading more efficient, might make your workflow more efficient in the classroom. And I definitely wanted them, but I could still teach using free. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
There was
go ahead, Carmen.
Unit quiz. No, go ahead. I was just looking for it. There was a question
Sure.
that's really funny.
Mm-hmm.
What's some of the answers?
Going to say we're kind of getting to a point where we've been together for about an hour and a half already.
Oh, wow.
So I know it's gone so fast. I love this topic. I could just, Carmen, you and I could just talk and talk and talk. I love it. But why don't we go ahead and give everybody about a 5-minute break. And then when we come back, we're going to go ahead and do some breakout sessions. So if you're interested in learning more about some teacher tools and some of the resources on the site, and you might definitely have some questions about what is free, what is pro. We can definitely help you out with that too. But Carmen's going to talk a little bit about some of those additional teacher tools that you can access and do a high level overview of those. Now, if you want to talk a little bit more about cybersecurity curriculum and what's in the course, then we'll invite you to join that breakout session, but you'll have a choice when we come back. So let's take our break. So we're going to take 5 minutes and let's come back at 36 after the hour.
Sounds good.
Perfect. And if you do have to jump off the call, no worries. We are recording. It won't record the breakout sessions, but we can certainly get you that information in another way too. And I will send that out in a follow-up. See you all in 5. And thank you very much for reminding me about that because I'm terrible with it. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. There we go. Okay, so we really hope you got some really good information out of everything today. And oh, I forgot I have all these slides in here. There's so many slides that you're all going to have access to. So let me just see if I can get all the way down. Let's go to about here. Okay, so definitely take a look at those slides, and I'll send out the link to the slides in the follow-up email as well. So we just wanted to share a few other resources with you before we leave you for this workshop today. So if you are excited about CodeHS, definitely check out our CodeHS Certified Educator Program. All the cool kids are doing it, just saying. So you will want to apply to be a CodeHS Certified Educator. If you would like to learn more about the CodeHS micro-credentials for teachers, we would love to share more info about that for you too. I know I'm still kind of obsessed about micro-credentials, so definitely check those out. Don't forget to check out the CodeHS course catalog. Follow us on Facebook, super active Facebook group, so I highly recommend jumping into the CodeHS group there. And we have so many more workshops coming up. So definitely head out to codehs.com/freepd, sign up for more workshops. We have 2 more this week. And actually, before I say that, I will mention that we do have a deep dive into CodeHS coming up. I think it's next week with Sean Razor, who will be talking about the platform and how to get more out of using CodeHS. And we also have a second cybersecurity workshop happening in July, I think July 18th, with teacher trainer Joe Thompson. And so that one, it will say that it's for a more experienced teacher. You've all been through this. Go ahead and sign up for that now. It's just going to take you into more lessons and more fun and more ideas about how to use CodeHS. Oh, and here's our upcoming workshops for this week. So if you are so inclined, we absolutely invite you to join us tomorrow for our Teaching Intro to AI and Data Science workshop. Same time, go ahead and register for that at codehs.com/freepd, and we'll send you a link for that one. On Thursday, we have another workshop, and this one is going to be about teaching game design in Unity. So if we have anybody who's excited about those topics, and if you're not excited, you should be, because they're very fun. So you might want to check those out. It's okay if you can't come in person. We will send you the follow-up. And one last thing, we would love to know how we did. So if you could take a moment and fill out our workshop survey, that would be awesome. And also let us know what else you'd like to see from us. We definitely enjoy our feedback from all of you. And this is how we determine what we bring you, what kind of workshops we run. And so definitely let us know. So head out to codehs.com/workshop survey and fill that out for us, please. And one more link, and it might be in there. I didn't have my, Linda already put it in there because she's so fast. So in case you didn't click that attend link, make sure you get your certificate and click that attend link. So codehs.com/cyber-attend, and that will let me send you a certificate. All right, everybody. And we are down to the last, I'm totally over on seconds, but I'm going to take 30 more seconds to say thank you again. So thank you first to Carmen for taking us through a phenomenal overview of the CodeHS cybersecurity course. Thank you so much, Carmen, for sharing what you do with your students. This was awesome. And we can absolutely tell your passion from hearing you today. So thank you so very, very much for doing this today. I also want to say thank you to the CodeHS team members for being here. We couldn't do it without you. You guys are way faster than me. And so we appreciate that so much. And thank you to all of you for joining. Thank you to our amazing teachers. And thank you for being a teacher. We know it's been a rough year and probably one of the more difficult years you faced as a teacher. Thank you for continuing to teach. Thank you for all you do. We appreciate you more than you know and more than we can say. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. You can expect to see a follow-up email from me more than likely tomorrow morning, but I'll get that video out to you as fast as I can. And we are looking forward to seeing you at the next CodeHS workshop. Bye, everybody. Have a wonderful day.